do. I guess you guys are the first to hear it. Co-organizing another rally on the 15th. On the 14th, it's going to be all over the US, but it's bands off our bodies. So more to come on that. So if you feel like you want to do something, there's some rallies and information, but let's get distracted.
That sounds great. So before we get started with tonight's topic, which is going to be mental health and masturbation in May, because if you did not know, May is for masturbation and mental health, which I think is perfect. They go hand in hand, and I think it's just going to be really fun to talk about. So without further ado, let's get started. First, actually, let's do this first. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, just give your name,
Sure.
where you're coming from in terms of location, and also who you are representing today. And if you could give me like a favorite sexual health fact, that would be awesome. You can think of one, no pressure.
Oh, no pressure at all. Pressure can be good, whether it's gentle or hard. But okay, there's gonna be lots of puns this whole entire time, so bear with me. I can't stop. I identify as a 15-year-old boy. It's just who I am. I'm Maureen Pollack. I am president and co-founder of Lovability. I live here in Stamford, Connecticut. I'm sure you've heard of it. Let's see. And a fun sexual health fact. I mean, there's no better fact to drop than masturbation is good for you.
Like,
it's a fact.
Yes, like we knew that already, but also so many people don't know that already. So.
It's really good. I mean, there's so many things to go into on how it's good for you. I mean, you're sick right now. Some doctors believe that it is healthy for you and can help you overcome sickness. It's good for depression and mental health. It helps if you have a low libido to get things going again, get the blood flowing. It's great for pelvic health. It's great for if you're menstruating or PMSing with the cramps. It helps open up and make cramping more gentle. However, it's controversial. Some people say it may intensify, but the majority say it opens things up, gets the blood flowing, and it's a great way to alleviate some of your pain during menstruation.
Yes, that is awesome. I will say COVID has really put a damper in my sex drive, but my dad is watching this. I love that.
He always watches. Hi, Dad. I love him.
My dad and my boyfriend, my two biggest supporters. Love that. But so we're going to be going into depth on masturbation and how it can relate to physical and mental health, which is awesome. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about like, what is Masturbation May? Like, is this a new thing? Is this something we've been celebrating for a while? And then if you give some ways to celebrate, I know that's kind of like celebrate.
No worries. Cool. I mean, it's kind of fun the day and age we live in with social media. We have a day for this. We have a month for that. I don't know the fact on how long it's been around, but in my industry, by the way, I work in the sexual health industry. I invented a sex toy in 2012. So as long as I could remember, I've been hearing it talked about, but recently it's been more in the mainstream. And it's also menstruation month. So I'm sure there's other months, like it's tie your shoe month. I don't know.
Probably.
But I love that it's a mental health masturbation and menstruation month. What was your other question?
Honestly, kind of a loaded question, but
celebrate.
What are some ways we can celebrate? Like, I mean, I think just like masturbate as much as you want, but like,
yeah,
anything else we can do?
Well, I would say it's a good time to support masturbation companies. So supporting the smaller businesses is great. Learning a fact and learning how to get more involved and learning more about yourself. And sometimes when there's a whole month for something, it allows you, instead of just one day, to just be focused on it. So if there's something you want to do, like let's say I'm going to make a pact where I'm going to try to increase my masturbation every week by at least one. Let's say you don't masturbate at least one time. And ethically speaking, I am not telling you to masturbate, but if you want to, now's your opportunity to start trying. So getting involved, maybe treat yourself to a little gift. If you had your eye on something, now's your month to get yourself self-love. Love yourself, get yourself a gift.
That sounds great. And we're going to be talking about some products and recommendations from your company, as well as birth control recommendations. Yes, can't wait. But one of other thing I wanted to mention is that just briefly, because this is a fun live, briefly touching upon what is going on in the Supreme Court. Masturbation is a form of safe sex. You can't get pregnant from it. I would hope not. So it, something that at least you can safely rely on in the meantime. If that is something you are concerned about, and that is a whole different conversation we will be having another time. Check out Dr. Gan's lives. She's been going live like every single day, doing lots of interviews, which is awesome. But yeah, masturbation is a safe alternative. And there's also something called mutual masturbation where you can do it with a partner there. So even if you wanted to engage in like a form of safe sex with someone else, there is that option as well. Did you have anything else you wanted to share on mutual masturbation?
The only thing that I do like to preface, because I do go and speak at universities and there's all these wonderful topics about masturbation, I do want to preface that it's not all fun and games with masturbations. There are some things that you should be on the lookout for or be aware of. So one, we'll just start with products themselves, like make sure it's not toxic. There's not many regulations on the materials that you put inside of your body, on your body. So be careful with what you do. And we could go into that a little bit later. But also, if you're in a partnership, some people go, it's my body, I can masturbate, I could do whatever I want, leave me alone. However, if you're in a relationship, or you should have the conversation with your partner, not saying they should tell you what you can and can't do, but some people do have trauma, some people do have, trigger warning. Some people do have some things that in a relationship are their boundaries. And I like to say one person's pleasure should not override somebody's pain. So make sure you're open to have a conversation. The example is pornography. So sometimes people, if they're not comfortable in a relationship with their partner watching pornography, or masturbating in secret and then not being together with intimacy, there are those things to be aware of. But like you said, mutual masturbation is a beautiful thing where it brings couples together and it enhances intimacy. So I just wanted to drop that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I think that's so important to mention too. There are some products that you should not be putting into your body. We just released something a couple days ago about how someone said that you should use a sponge to absorb period blood. It's like, no, please don't do that. So definitely be careful. Make sure your products are FDA approved, and we'll be dropping some recommendations. So yes, very glad you mentioned that, and always important to communicate with your partner. We just had a live a couple weeks ago with Sex Ed with DB about how important consent is with your partner, and not just in terms of sex, but in terms of masturbation and just like general communication and all of that. So I think in order to have that healthy relationship, it is good to have those conversations. Okay, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about shame and masturbation. I think especially for women, and I can't just, speaking to my personal experience, I grew up as a cis woman, but I'm sure it happens in men too. If you've seen the show Sex Education, it's centered around a male character who is afraid to masturbate. So do you have any tips for anyone who's like embarrassed to like explore their own body, or just anything to help someone who is just struggling to like get out of their own head and relax, if it is something that they are interested in doing?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I do get a lot of, I'm an intimacy coach as well. So I do get a lot of people who come to me with this. And the first thing is giving yourself permission. Try to remove all the things and unlearn what you've learned. It is totally natural and it happens. There's documentation that fetuses are masturbating in utero. Like they're touching themselves and doing it over and over again. A little fun fact, I got kicked out of preschool for masturbating during nap time. Little kids do it like it. I hope you're okay over there. Are you coughing or laughing?
Coughing, but I'm laughing too. Don't worry.
Okay. So it's okay and it's natural. Sometimes that's the thing. So it depends on what is prohibiting you from feeling comfortable. Sometimes it's not knowing what to do. Sometimes it's diving in too deep, or you see something or you hear something. But the general rule of thumb is start and do whatever you want. And if it feels good and feels right, do it some more. And if you need to take a break and come back. That could be fun too. It's like edging and going there.
Ooh.
Some other little tips are get out of the bed. Beds are not just for sleeping. Couches aren't just for sitting. So try to change your environment if you're associating and you're just not able to. Another one is try doing it in the dark. If it's something about the visuals, so try sensory adaptation. So you could put on headphones. You can change the smell in the room. You could change the environment. I mean, I know we're going to jump into products, but my friend, this other woman who invented a product, it's wearable latex underwear. So sometimes people have a hard time masturbating for many reasons, but I know in the trans community, it's very difficult to masturbate when you don't identify with your genitalia. So I love Laurel's, which is a wearable panty, and they're like, anybody, they stretch their, I mean, I'll open one up. They're so awesome. And even if you're a pro masturbator, it'd be a cool title to have, pro masturbator. It changes up the sensation, but these are like super sexy. Oh, that's the other one. Put on lingerie, get sexy, turn yourself on, date yourself. But they're like so soft, and it changes its sensation. And it's sometimes people, you can use them for oral and for masturbation. So this is a fun little one to try. And then I also don't want to drop my product, but the water slide was one of the things that I invented because, well, you tie it onto your bathtub faucet and it brings the water to you. A lot of women figure out masturbation through either the shower head or scooting under the faucet. And that's a really great way to start masturbating because for women in general, it's very difficult with your fingers. So laying underneath the water, it feels more like oral and your hands are free. So you can imagine something else is happening to you.
I love that. I think please product drop. I just got a couple of your things actually. They have not arrived yet. Otherwise they would be sitting right here, but I'm super excited. You had Lovability had a sale on condoms for April was STI awareness month. So there was a sale going on condoms and I'd never tried yours before. So I was like, great, let's get them. They come in that nice little tin. Very excited. So you mentioned too, yes, I love that. I think it's so cute too because it's super discreet. And not that you need to be discreet with condoms, but again, you're up to you, of course. And it's just something you can throw in your purse. Like sometimes if you're like rummaging through and they're like everywhere, it's just easier to have them in a little tin. So I love that. I also, something I really love about the water slide is that because it is something that you don't need to use really any of your limbs for, super accessible, which is great for someone who is not able to do that. I actually mentioned it in my grad school interview for occupational therapy. I was talking about talking about sexual health occupational therapy, that it's a really great product that people should try. Because, no, of course, big fan. Because yeah, it's super accessible, which is awesome. So I think that's really great. Any other products you'd like to mention? I know you have lube, you have the condoms. I feel like I've seen some sprays. There's a lot. I love it. I mean,
I'm happy to go through some of our products. And if you want me to dive deeper, if anybody has questions, just to get people a little bit engaged, if somebody does write something, I'm going to have you read it. But when people are getting engaged and comment, we're going to keep track and I'm going to send somebody a little gift because I love to get everybody involved.
Dr. Yen said your condoms come in beautiful packaging.
Oh, thank you. I mean, let's start with the condoms. So we really wanted women to feel that we're part of the equation. Like the condoms out there, a lot of them are toxic and have petroleum. I mean, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent, but I'm going to try to reel myself back. We believe that sexual health is beautiful. It's not either clinical and it's not raunchy. It just is. And I wanted something that was beautiful. So these are the tins. I don't know if you can see it with the light. But the condoms open up in these buttercup. So I wish I had one right here. I might get up and get it. But you open them up like this and the tip is always pointed up. And that's for user error safety. So what happens if you open up a condom pack and it's the wrong way and you put it on and then you turn it around? It's contaminated. And who's going to suffer if it's contaminated? the receiver. So we wanted to make it error proof in that sense. So you take it out and it goes directly on. And it's also all natural and vegan. And I have a very sensitive vulva, so I wanted something that was super clean. I think of UTI, I don't even want to say it out loud, and I get a UTI. So something super clean and beautiful, and they're super elastic. So those are a fave. And real quick with the condoms, talking about body safe sex toys, like here's another little fun tip. You can put a condom over a sex toy. So that's one way. If you have something you don't know if it's body safe, you don't know if you've sanitized it, you're in the mood, throw a condom over it. Keep them by your bedside. It's a great little life pro tip.
I love that. Actually keep them clean, like, because you know sometimes they get kind of gross.
They do, and then you clean them and sanitize them. Then you have them next to your bed or in a drawer in a box, and they get fuzz on it, and it's challenging. But with the water slide, you don't have to worry about sanitizing it because it's always clean. So here's the water slide for those of you who might not know. And it comes in this packaging. And right now they come with a free hair towel. There's only a few left. But you essentially tie this onto your bathtub faucet and the water comes to the most magical place ever. And if you're worried about water shortage, I do like to preface that only use it while you're filling up the bathtub. And instead of wasting water, I say if you don't use it, you're wasting potential energy. So the water slide, it's the cleanest, most hygienic way you can possibly have pleasure besides plain thought. Cleaner than your hands, cleaner than partners, cleaner than anything. It's just plain water. And it also dubs as a hygiene device. And I love that you mentioned that it's mobility friendly. So I felt like dropping the mic and being like, I'm done when I got my first letter from somebody who told me that their aide tied it on. And she mentioned that cleaning and hygiene was very difficult before, that I didn't know people would put a washcloth over the side of a bathtub and use their foot and try to wet it and put it on and then grind on it to get clean. It was very difficult to have feminine hygiene. So she said, like, game changer, thank you. And she goes, wink, wink, wink. And I love bath time even more now. So that I'm done.
I can die happy.
Yes, I'm happy now. I'll move on from the water slide unless you have any questions, because I could talk about it all day, every day. We did come out with 2 new products. So in the same like lovability tin that everybody loved our condoms in, we came out with our other colors, but I know it's super bright on there. How do people do that? There we go.
The hand behind it with the makeup gurus. Yeah.
It didn't do anything. So this is Bomb Arousal Bomb. And it is seriously the bomb. There was a product like this 10 years ago, and it came in this little tiny tin. You rub it on your vulva. It has like peppermint oil, and it gets the blood flowing. And one of the things for women is it takes on average 20 minutes for you to be fully aroused. And sometimes the act is already over before that 20 minutes. So I like saying that this is a way to just be mindful and set the intention that your pleasure matters. And it also just is moisturizing and feels amazing. I love it before yoga. I love it all the time. And instead of the little tin, I was like, you know what? We have a 2-ounce tin over here. So it lasts for a while. And you could use it all over your body. But it's super, super safe for your vulva. And I love it. It's the bomb.
Hot. Love that.
Our third, I guess, from the third one is our 3-play massage candle. And this is super cool for getting the mood going as well. You could do it solo with your partner or partners. You light the candle and it melts it, but it turns it into massage oil. And you can pour it on your hands. You can pour it directly on your body. And the cool thing is that it has an aphrodisiac scent that's androgynous. And the idea is that it kind of I want people to get into the comfortable space. It's very introductory into like safe temperature play. So wax out there, it's great. It heightens your senses, but sometimes wax, like sex wax and stuff that you pour on yourself, it can be a little bit painful. And the whole idea is that it's supposed to invoke fear, which is a primal instinct. And when you have soothing done with it, that's what excites people. And that's what real BDSM is about. It's not about torture. It's about igniting your inner fire and the love that comes with it. So this is our 3-play. So, oh, I love it. Yeah, and you could put this around your bathtub too, because it's super moisturizing. It doesn't hard. It doesn't turn to wax. So when you pour it, you can have like a wonderful foot massage, body massage, all massage with the oil from this candle. And the bathtub just a really nice, slippery, fun place anyway.
Yeah.
Did you want me to go through more products, or should I move on to other companies?
I'm actually going to mention one myself.
Mm-hmm.
We brought it out. So last week I went live we didn't go live. We just did a little podcast. We'll be live on Spotify soon with Claire. She's on here. She's been making some comments, so shout out to her.
Hi, Claire.
And we were talking about our favorite products, just like that we've tried, and we were talking about Adam and Eve. It's one of the most accessible sexual health companies, which is awesome, and accessible in terms of easy to access online. I'm not 100% sure which products are accessible in terms of mobility, but I'm sure there are some. Water slide is still top of my list though.
We need more. We need more, guys. Come on.
Yes, like let's get on it. When I'm an OT, for sure. But in the meantime, I have this one. I'm like embarrassed showing it, but isn't it cute? It's like this is a mini one, so it's kind of small. I've seen bigger ones, but Claire and I were actually talking about how we both have these. But the Satisfier collection is really great because it's very like, I'm trying to think of the word. Essentially, you can change the level of intensity that it goes. So if you're someone who needs like a little bit less stimulation, you can just start it on a very low setting just to like see how it feels. And then if you're like, okay, I want a little bit more, you can bump it up all the way. I think there's like 25 settings on there. And it's really great. And again, it's one of those things like this actually stays pretty clean, but you just pop this off and that's the part that you wash if you are using it on your bare skin. And yeah, it's really great and relatively affordable. I've seen some products that are just outrageously expensive, and you know what, you got to invest in your sexual health, but this is a really great like starter one. And then another product, honestly I think you might have recommended this to me, but this is another great brand of lube. I know Lovability has your Hallelujah, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, and I could share that with you afterwards. But I love that as well.
This one's great. It's again like super natural ingredients. It says on here, one thing, my favorite part, pH balanced. We don't want a UTI or a yeast infection, more specifically yeast infection with that. But yeah, unscented and unflavored, which again, great for sensitive skin. So if you are looking for another semi-affordable lubricant option for either sex with a partner or just masturbation on your products, would highly recommend. So those are my two. But yes.
You want me to start busting out some toys?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what's around me, but I'll just grab some. This is probably one of the most famous sex toys in the world, and it's not even listed as a sex toy, but people have pins of it. I'm like purposely not showing you to see if people are like, wait, I know what it is. Anybody want to guess what the #1 sex toy is in the world? Wait, oh, somebody joined. I was hoping somebody would write it in. The magic wand.
Yeah, that was my guess.
I mean, like the magic wand, like you can leave it out. Grandma has it out. She does not rub her back with it. This is amazing if you want super, super, super high powered vibration. And some of the myths and all those things is that you can get desensitized with vibration. And fun fact, it's not true. It's bunked, but it can leave desensitized nerve endings for like up to 2 weeks. So people also do get into like sensory, when they get used to the same type of sensation. So if you're used to this, it can become difficult to wean off of it or not feel as much in other ways, because this is so high powered. A little thing that some people do is they cover it with something called a companion, which is like a microfiber cloth, women owned, women made, blankets on the bed to just create a little barrier or separation to just dull it down a little bit. The ranking of orgasms from high powered vibration is on the lower side. So there's different types of orgasms, and usually it's about the buildup and you want to enjoy the experience. The one downfall to magic wands, sorry guys, is that it happens really quick, very fast orgasms, but the buildup is usually equal to how high or how intense the orgasm is going to be. And these are really quick, and there's books on it about it being considered a sneeze. But they're great, and I love them. Some other ones, this one is really cool. This one got Sex Toy of the Month, and it's called Tryst. And it's great because it's so versatile, and it's for men and women and all body parts. It vibrates. It has a really nice, and it's super body safe, surgical grade silicone. And you can turn it on different levels, and it's super, super, super powerful. So you can put things between it here, nipples, I mean, whatever you want to feel good, you can put between there. It can go over the man. You can put it over the man and ride on top and have clitoral stimulation while they're having stimulation. You could flip it underneath and put it like this so they get some on other areas that are underneath, on the testicles. You can insert, I mean, this thing is just so versatile. It's amazing. It was a nice gift. Thank you from Adam and Eve. Thanks, guys.
Love Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Someone actually commented, I think it was Megan. Hi, Megan. She's also on the social media team. Shout out to her. She asked if either of us have tried the rose vibrator. I have not, but I've seen it on Instagram. It looks cool.
I have. I get sent a lot of new products that come, and I'm usually not a fan. Like, I don't ever want to say anything negative about products that come out. What I can say is that it's gentle. So it's the clitoral suction. So, but it's not really powerful. So maybe it's just me. I don't want to like bash it, but I am very happy that it is made the mainstream and people becoming more aware. So, and it's beautiful and it's inexpensive. So there's a lot of perks to it, but it went TikTok viral, and I've been to like conventions in Vegas, and all the store owners are saying it's flying off the shelves, but none of us understand why, because there's thousands of things that are way better. Sorry. I hate to say
I'll give it that.
My opinion. But yes, they also have a lily. They're changing colors. A bunch of them are coming out, and a lot of them are white labeled, so you could get them through a lot of companies, but they're made in China, and I don't know about the material with them either. So here's one that this is called Enjoy. So it is beautiful, heavy duty stainless steel, and I call this one, the nickname's the squirter. So a lot of people go, I've seen it. How do you do it? Not everybody's able to squirt, but if you wanted to try, this one inserts and it pretty much pulls back and hits the G-spot. And the G-spot is the way to get for women to squirt, but it's very difficult to get to. You always hear about the come hither and 2 fingers, 2 inches inside with the come hither. But your fingers are actually not that strong to be in that position to get it. It can tease, it could get things going, but this thing is solid. I mean, it's heavy. Like, I know you guys can't feel it through there, you can't, but this thing is awesome, and you can use it for anal play as well. And it's great because it starts small, and the temperature and the material. Let's move into anal. So I brought this out. This is usually the go-to for beginners who are interested in trying anything with anal, but I'm not a fan, and I usually don't recommend the silicone material, even though you see a ton of it out there. It's too grippy. You want something that's going to not grip your tissues, because there's so many nerve endings in the rectum, and you need a lot of lubrication because it's not self-lubricating. So this is a really, like, yes, lube. Lube. Can't have enough. So this is really great. And there's other ones that are like this that are metal or stainless steel. So you want something that isn't too much of a bulge. So I do see a lot of times that they make them and they're like, really fat and then it stops. It can get stuck inside, not this part, but once you get over the bulge, it can go in, and people have had a hard time getting it out. So you want something that gradually goes. Just something to be aware of. It doesn't get stuck. It just is hard on that part. If it doesn't have a base, so they always say don't insert things that don't have a base, because then it could really get stuck and get lost inside. And trust me, if you know anybody in the ER, any trauma, they will all tell you that they have seen plenty of people coming in with things lost inside. So those are the few of the anal ones, and I don't have, and I'm like, do I have more sex toys around me? It's very possible.
The first thing that you showed, I'm not 100% sure, but I follow this pelvic floor therapist on Instagram, and I think she was using either that or something that looked very similar for an exercise that can actually kind of like strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, which I thought was really cool. So it could kind of, 2-for-1 situation.
Yeah.
I kind of like relax them.
I mean, I just can't show you, but I could talk about a lot of them. I have them over there, but there's some amazing products and technology that have come out. Lioness it looks like a dildo, and it looks like one with a rabbit. However, there's little mini sensors inside of it, and it tracks your pelvic floor contractions. And what it does is it tracks your orgasms. So it helps you learn what you like, and you have an app with it, and you could use it, and then you can say, okay, I know that I had an orgasm from trying to do this, or this happened. And you can start seeing and tracking your orgasms, but it also dubs as pelvic floor exercises when you do your Kegels. So it's great sensors. And there's many, many different Kegel exercises. You could play video games. You can insert it inside of you and go on the app, and it'll have a little character that will jump every time you just do our Kegels together. There, my character just jumped. So there's wonderful partner toys. And I'm going to stop after this one and let you ask questions or other people. But I love when products bring people together. I know it's Masturbation May. Masturbation could be solo or mutual. But I do love sometimes when it brings people together. So there's ones that you can wear inside of you and go on the inside and outside. And just like Trist, I love that it's versatile. And the water slide, you could be in the bathtub with your partner, or do it on your own, or start and come out and be together.
I love that. That is really great. And again, it just goes back to the idea of how like mutual masturbation can be a really great alternative to other things. If that is something that both partners are interested in, I think that's really awesome. And yes, Dr. Jem was saying how Lioness is one of the like coolest things on the internet, and I totally agree. Also, women founded company, love that. People understand women's bodies, which is awesome. But yeah, so thank you for showing all of that. That was really great and really helpful. I have some things that now I want to look up. So last topic that I wanted to cover this evening before we go into just like some final fun things, masturbation and mental health. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We'll be doing a little bit more, we'll be providing a little bit more information on this later this month, but I wanted to see if you had any kind of like, I guess, two questions here. First one, relationship between mental health and masturbation. I know you touched a little bit on this before, but how it can help you in just like feeling better, more confident, more sexy, all of that. And then second question is there something wrong with me if I don't want to masturbate? I think it's important to call attention to that side of the sexual spectrum as well. So kind of a lot, but
I'm going to start with the second question and just say there's nothing ever wrong with you if you want to do something or don't want to do something. I mean, if you don't want to, you don't want to. But the problem lies when you want to and you don't feel like it. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
Like I know I want to get up and participate, and part of mental health is like, I know I want to be part of life and be with my friends and get out of my bed, but I can't. I just can't. Yeah. And it lasts longer than 2 weeks. That we all know is sometimes a symptom of depression. And then you might say, okay, there's something wrong going on, but it's not something wrong with me. I like to remove that notion. There's something wrong with me, because that just perpetuates that self-harm and self-loathing. the way masturbation, from what I've heard, helps is it releases dopamine. It releases those feel good chemicals. So if you can and you want to get into it, it feels good. It's pleasure. Like, as long as you're doing things that feel, you're helping yourself. Again, like I said in the beginning, the preface: if you have a porn addiction, if you have a masturbation addiction is real. I have suffered from, not the porn side, but from masturbation addiction. And I had to cut the cords on my Hitachis and do it in a healthy way. And it is a real addiction. But just like exercise is really good for depression and other mental health, so is masturbation. And there's plenty of studies on it. And it's controversial again, but there's many studies out there that you can see the positive effects of masturbation on your mental health.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. In the documentary, which you should have been in, Principles of Pleasure, on Netflix, there was a part all about that, about how there have actually been studies to show that masturbation can lead to that increase in dopamine, which can in turn improve mental health. And people who are on medications might actually benefit from masturbation, maybe moving towards that as something in the future, which I think is really cool. But at the same time, what were you going to say?
When you're done, I just want to share something about medication and masturbation.
Oh, yes, perfect. I think I know where you're going with that. But in the documentary as well, where was I going with this? Something with the...
Sorry.
No, you're so fine. Something with it's the COVID brain fog, really. No, it's okay. I'll think of it. Anyway, yes, medication. Something I know about this is if you're on antidepressants or birth control, we are very pro birth control, obviously, but it is something that can impact your libido. So I think that is something that is important to note. There's so many different types out there. You can always talk to your doctor. But yes, that is my take. But
yeah, you're definitely right. Like, a lot of SSIs or antidepressants and birth control, there's a phenomenon that happens to some people where they have the desire, they have the libido, they masturbate or they have sex, and they can't have an orgasm, which leaves them very, very frustrated. So I just like to share with people, if you do experience that, talk to your doctor. There's other options out there sometimes, but also it's that risk analysis. Like, okay, I'm not able to orgasm, but this is really making the quality of my life better. So have those conversations with your doctor. And again, there's nothing wrong with you. It happens. And then it's also with libido. I did write with one of my friends at MIT. I wrote the Intimacy Research Project, and I had a hypothesis that female masturbation, I focused on women, female masturbation increases libido. So we wrote it all up, and I was trying to do everything to disprove it, and because that's what science is about. And we wrote the study, and it got turned down by Durham University. It got denied through their ethics department because they said, what married woman, because they had to include married women, what married woman would masturbate?
All of them?
Many. And then I was like,
not all, but yes.
Yeah. We wrote back and we're like, okay, you're supposed to remove your own personal life experiences, Mrs. So-and-so. And it was the only woman on the board who fought to have it denied. And we wrote in, we had our own ethics department go through it. But I still believe that the more you masturbate, and especially okay, I'm going to be controversial right now. I'm only saying this to women. When women increase their masturbation, they'll increase their blood flow and libido. And the more you use it, the more you want it. And the only reason why I'm controversial is because I don't know the effects that it has on men. So with studying Judaism and Nida, we have heard the biblical stuff about spilling the seed. And the more I looked into it, the more I saw you were concerned about libido and intimacy and bringing couples together. What happens when a woman masturbates? She gets turned on, she can have an orgasm. She could then, if we're talking about bringing people together, that's all I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about single people. I'm not talking about people away. I'm talking about, I want to be with my partner more. So if a woman masturbates and she has
Uh-oh. You just cut out for 1 second. You might need to just say that again. I'm so sorry. Okay, that's better.
Did it cut out?
Yeah, it did. And I really wanted to hear what you were saying.
Maybe the universe was trying to save my ass from being controversial.
Oh my God, they knew that might have happened.
They're like, no, don't say men shouldn't masturbate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if a couple is coming to me and saying, I want to bring us together and have more intimacy and have more sex together, how can we help? And one of the first questions I ask the couple is he masturbating? And usually I've been seeing, and this is my own anecdotal, like only around 100 couples around there have said, yeah, like he masturbates all the time. So the first thing I do is like, okay, let's cut back on the masturbation for men, and you, to the women, I want you to increase your masturbation. And for some magical reason, like within a week, they're both like, we've been having great sex, we've come together. And what I was saying before is when a woman masturbates and has an orgasm, she can be with her partner and have more orgasms, or she's getting, remember I said 20 minutes on average to get fully aroused? She's getting fully aroused and now they're together and it's better. But if a man masturbates and has an orgasm, that day, usually for the men, they're like they've extinguished the flame. So it makes it more challenging if one person already had a snack and ate and is full before they come to the table. So that's my controversial note.
No, I think that's so important to mention. I think there's a lot of confusion around that too, because it's like I feel like for men it's just like normal to be masturbating all the time, and then for women, we're doing it, but at the same time it's not as much talked about, / it seems it is more looked down upon. I think it's becoming more, hopefully more talked about, but steps back in the government. So
I'm like, I can't even fathom how it could be looked down upon. What's looked down upon? Is it that we're slutty?
Well, people might
have that notion.
So I think in my 23 years of living, I think something that they had mentioned in Principles of Pleasure that I think resonated most with me was that one of the girls was saying, or women was saying, that she was caught masturbating at a really young age, and the response that she had received was pretty negative. And I think it's just kind of like this societal idea that like you shouldn't be doing that. And I can understand when you're a little kid, it's like that is a hard line to cross, because it's like we don't want to say that behavior is bad, but maybe do that in private, or maybe whatever. I think maybe a little bit of it stems from that. And I think also with women, we get very much in our heads. And I think that it can make it challenging, or feeling like embarrassed, or like we're not sexy when we're doing things on our own. But I think sometimes you just have to try it, and then, as with everything, and then realize, no, actually this might make me feel sexier. And as you just said, like in that study, that's really cool about how it could actually make you then in turn be more comfortable with your partner, which is great. If that is something, if you are having those intimacy issues. So I think it's really awesome. Just calling space to individuals who do identify as asexual, totally normal. I think it's like, as you said, like there's really nothing wrong with you. And even if there's something that you are self-conscious about, or maybe you think like, okay, maybe there is something wrong with this behavior, or there's something that is abnormal about this behavior for me right now, it's like unusual compared to how I usually behave, that's when you'll want to talk to an intimacy coach or therapy or things like that. But it is important to note, with all of the shame around masturbation and sexual health, that like there is kind of getting out of your head and realizing like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Like this stuff is normal.
You're not alone. Guaranteed, you are not alone. I've had so many people go, okay, I'm so embarrassed about this one thing I want to try. And I'm like, you're the 10th person who's told me that today.
Like I've heard of
some of the best ones on the market have told me their secret is they're like stereotypical. They're actually not beautiful. And I really wish I could emphasize beautiful more, but society stereotypical, like body size or age, like their clients are high rollers, and the reason they're with them is because they have no inhibitions. They don't want to be with somebody who's like, oh no, you got something in my hair, or I don't know if I look. They say they're sick and tired of that I'm trying to be beautiful in bed thing. Let go. And it's sexy and it's beautiful to let go and be in the moment. Yeah, just want to share that.
I love that. And like, again, I can't speak to all, but men are probably not thinking about that. Should we worry about that? My dad commented, yes, beautiful. I don't know what he was referring to, but thank you.
I mean, there's J-Lo also had a quote way back in the days. It was about body appearance. She's like, there could be two girls on the beach and one could have like a super tight blah, blah, blah. And she's like worried or trying really hard to like walk a certain way. And she's like, and then there's another woman next to her who's got dimples in all the right places and she is having a blast and she is just confident. That's sexy. Just loving yourself.
100%. There's a whole what's it called? Girls Gotta Eat podcast about it. It's great. Would highly recommend. But yeah, no, I think it's so hard. It because society tells you all these things, and it's like as a young woman, I think especially, and I'm sure as you age as well, but when people don't talk about these things, it can just feel like so kind of foreign. But that's why it is important to have these conversations and like talk about it with your friends. Obviously, read the room. If people are not comfortable, then okay, maybe different crowd. But
yeah, I'm not good at that.
Sorry, I know, right? I'm like,
I'm the worst. They're like, Maureen, stop. I'm like, sorry.
I know. My parents are like, can you not talk about this at the dinner table, please?
Parents.
No, they're really great.
I love your parents. You know that.
I love them too. Actually, before we wrap this up, funny story about how I know Maureen. You and my mom used to play tennis. Do you still play tennis together? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you would love that. You're both on the city committee in Stamford.
Oh, so. Yeah. Politician.
Yeah. Women in politics. We love. Oh, my dad just said we love it. Yep. Like father, like daughter.
See you guys at the club.
Yes. I'm very lucky. I have a very like sexually empowered family, which is great. But I know not everyone is lucky enough to have that. So I think, it is important to have these conversations, and maybe over time people will become more comfortable. That is obviously the goal. So
yeah. The more we talk about it, the more it shows people that we're all together and experiencing it, and it counterbalances all the other crap that's out there. So
definitely. Well, this was so great. I have like one fun to ask you. That's going to be super quick. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in, comments, and just watching. Feel free to share with your friends. I think, again, like these are really important conversations to have. And if you are nervous to have that conversation, like show them this, like, everyone is doing it. So, or well, again, not everyone, but a lot of people. So, calling space to that, I think is really great. So before we wrap, I wanted to ask you if you have, again, kind of a two-parter, one piece of advice for individuals who are kind of like exploring their sexuality, specifically in regards to masturbation. And then if you have any social media, any events you'd like to plug for Lovability, that would be awesome. Or for yourself.
Yeah. Before we were talking about little ways to like get into masturbation or tips for masturbation. Again, it's just removing that notion that there's something wrong with you, and there's nothing. The acts that you could be doing, just make sure that they're safe, and what you put in or on your body are safe. Yes. And enjoy. It's pleasure. Pleasure is inherently good. And I'm here to say it. It's good for you, and do it and love it. Places where if you actually have more questions or something that's a little bit more specific to a personal thing, I'm happy to help. On our Instagram at Lovability, I do get engaged. I see the stories. We ask questions all the time, and we're all learning together continuously. So Lovability Inc. And I'm Maureen Pollack. So we'll drop it in below. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, no, this was so awesome. I'm I'm trying to think if I have any pieces of advice. I mean, you are the expert, but I'm
No,
trying.
we are.
Well, yeah, and like we are all the experts of our own bodies, and I totally agree with you that yeah, it's important to do what makes you feel best. I guess I'll share a piece of advice that I have received from someone else, and it's that if you are feeling kind of uncomfortable with your own body, or maybe you've had some experiences of trauma or just like negative sexual experiences in the past, and unfortunately, so many women around my age have. So ways that you can get out of that are finding like sensations, physical, like a smell, things like that that make you feel best, that can really help you kind of like take you out of that nervous headspace, which is really great, whether it's a smell like your candles or the balm, love that, or just, you know, something, any like lights or just like a lotion that feels really good on your body, and just like noticing the little things. I think that was great. Oh, my dad says experts on our own bodies. It is true. I mean, you know your body best. It's doctors, yes, are the experts. Shout out to Dr. Yen. She is 100% expert. But at the same time, like, you know your body best, and it is your you have the right, and you should feel empowered to like advocate for it and your needs, and part of that is masturbating. So I feel like that is a great place to end. Yes,
I love it. Thank you.
Survive this without coughing too much. You really revived me. I had like no energy today, so this was really great.
It's very reviving.
Yes. Also, I said this was going to be 30 minutes, and we talked for like an hour, but
it's okay.
So thank you so much, Maureen. This was so awesome. We will be streaming this, or we'll be posting it on YouTube and Facebook, so you can access this later. And otherwise, have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and check us out on social media. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yes.